Welcome back to the CONVO Couch, everybody. I'm Pasta Jardula.
And I'm Fiorella.
And Jonny Sue is spinning on those ones and twos. And we're going to spin away today. This is the stuff we got. This is the good stuff, ladies and gentlemen. This is the stuff when the CONVO Couch goes out, gets our cameras, gets our microphones, gets in people's faces, starts asking questions, bringing you the inside stuff that you're not going to see elsewhere. Because even the first night, fam, we had ABC7 trying to get some footage from us.
I know.
Calling us up.
No, they were trying to get it from us for free. I'm like, excuse me.
Yeah, they offered a little bit over there, but we said, nah. We got some people coming on in. Tony watches closely. He's always one of the first to arrive to the party.
He's watching closely, fam.
He is watching us closely. Thank you, Tony, Karen M., George Kraft. And that was on the CONVO Couch YouTube. On the MCSC YouTube, we have Willem von Schinkster and Audit Press. Bitcoin he's talking about. And on the Facebook, we got 3 people, but they haven't identified themselves. So
They'll be coming in.
Let's get going because we have something. It's one of the biggest things in the country, fam, right now. This DA race over here is just riddled with controversy, just scandals, all this dirtiness, protesters, Black Lives Matters. Jackie Lacey is at the forefront of it, fam. And we did a show on Jackie Lacey the other day, but why don't you give a little talk about who Jackie Lacey is, and then we'll kind of go into this event.
Well, Jackie Lacey is the district attorney of Los Angeles. And of course, for a while, for the last few years, I remember, Black Lives Matter has been protesting Jackie Lacey, hashtag Jackie Lacey must go, because Jackie Lacey has refused to prosecute killer cops. And what I mean by that is law enforcement officials who have been caught in situations where it was very clear that they were guilty, that they went after mainly Black and brown people in Los Angeles. The families would go to these meetings right in front of her office, basically, and they would speak and tell their story of how their loved ones were targeted, etc. And it's a very interesting situation because Jackie Lacey, as you can see, is a woman of color. She's African American, and she is most hated by those in her community who are also African American. And Black Lives Matter in particular has been very, very hard on getting her out of office because she hasn't really represented her people, and she's taken the money, as we've mentioned, I don't know, before, she's taken money and has kind of corralled herself with people like Eric Bauman and Ed Buck, who was also responsible for the death of Black men.
Yeah,
so.
Ed Buck, if you haven't heard it, he's a big-time Clinton donor.
Of course.
Donated to Adam Schiff, Eric Bauman, and Kevin DeLeon, too. And it's just, you know, it was kind of funny. After we left this particular meeting, Fam had to go home. She said she had to take a 30-minute shower. I rolled myself in sage to rinse myself off. The craziness that happens at these particular meetings, when you have certain endorsements that come up and there's controversial, things can get crazy. So now at this particular LA Democratic
CDP,
Club meeting, the CDP, the reason why we decided to go is that we knew that Jackie Lacey was going to be seeking an endorsement and the Black Lives Matter activists were going to show up. But there were also other things that happened too as well. There's other candidates. There's other turmoil within the Democratic Party, especially in LA. Jonny, what do we want to go to first? We want to go to the Jasmine Canic on Ed Buck, or do we want to go to the stick on the videos? The protest. Okay, so let's go. This is the protest. You can see the by Jackie Lacey. Fam, she didn't get the endorsement, did she?
She didn't.
No.
I think I wrote it. Did we write it down here? I think I might have. She got like
like little
0.05. Yeah.
Yeah, she got very, very little. Actually, the endorsement was given to George Cascone. But before we get to that, that we had this Ed Buck kind of situation. What happened? Obviously. This is Jasmine Canic. Jasmine Canic showed up. Now, Jasmine Canic is an activist. She actually organized the protest out in front of Ed Buck's house after the second man was murdered. She pushed to get Ed Buck arrested, which eventually they caved in and they arrested him.
Eventually.
But Jasmine Canic has also spoke out of people who have taken money from Ed Buck. Now, there's an article out there. This is over a year ago, and we've been doing some investigating, and we want to see the ties where Jasmine Canic talked about DeLeon taking some money. It's the next article. right now we have to look at the lines. The campaign for De Leon has said that they have given back the money. So we have to follow these lines, see what's going on. But even still, there was a protester that showed up, and we were there to catch it all on film. And we're going to talk about it. His name is Jerome Kitchens, fam. Jerome Kitchens was a good friend of Jamel Moore. Jamel Moore was the gentleman who died, and he had a journal and kind of shed some light into what really Ed Buck liked to do, which was to fire up crystal meth to his victims and then have sex with them.
Right. And he had obviously a tendency to go after black men, especially working class, who didn't really have many family members. And I will point this out because I went to the protest actually when that happened, and Nancy Kaufman has reported a lot on it. She has spoken directly to Jerome Kitchen on KPFK. If you guys want to look it up, it's probably in the archives. But Jerome Kitchen, of course, is like Pasta said, the best friend, and so he's had a lot to say as far as what happened with Ed Buck.
So let's show our video of what we caught, because as they were making announcements for the candidates who got the endorsement, Mr. Kitchens lost it at the meeting. Take a look.
Democrats, how we feel tonight? I said, Democrats, how we feel tonight?
Sir, if you cannot take a seat, I will
Are you a delegate?
Are you a member of this body, sir? I ask our sergeant at arms to please remove this individual. Suzanne, Shannon, please remove this individual. Sir, please exit into the hallway. Sir, if you cannot control yourself, I ask you to exit.
I'm lying. This is my first time ever being here. This is my first time ever being here. So don't lie on me. Don't lie on me.
Remove him. He's being disruptive.
You are a disruption. Your life is a disruption. You are.
Sorry.
That's right.
I know. Please take your seats. We have
Nobody gonna mess with me. The security guard ain't gonna mess with me now. Boo!
Thank you, sir. As I was saying, Los Angeles City Council District 14 candidate Kevin De Leon.
Okay.
Do you mind if I ask why you're upset with him?
Yes,
Please,
he
please.
lied.
What did he lie
lied.
about?
He accepted money from Ed Buck.
Yes.
He lied and said he returned the money. 4 different videos of him lying 4 different times.
And you are who?
I am Jerome Kitchen. I'm with the
Yes.
Justice for Jamil and all Ed Buck's other victims. He lied repetitively. And this is my first time ever being at this meeting. So anybody that's spreading false allegations that I've done this before is lying with him. This is my first time ever being in this meeting.
Yes.
And it's a disgrace that this body is endorsing somebody that was complicit to the murder of black boys in this city. That's
Who
a
did he
disgrace.
take money from, you said?
Ed Buck.
And Ed Buck is...
Ed Buck is a serial killer. He is a serial killer of black boys. This man is complicit to it, and a lot of other people are complicit to it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. What's your name one more time?
My name is Jerome Kitchen.
Thank you, Jerome. Okay, so you can see the outburst that went on. You know, you never know what you're going to catch at these meetings, but it was some craziness. I didn't expect to see Jerome Kitchens there, and I didn't expect to see him to go after De Leon. I think they were all there for the Lacey thing, fam.
Right.
And
I thought they were going to go after Lacey. I was kind of like, who is booing De Leon? De Leon, okay. I mean, we've talked about him here before. I mean, he's not my favorite person at all. But he's running for city council now, and he has largely the support of the majority of progressives, not just the establishment, but he has both. He has the establishment and progressive support. In fact, he won the endorsement of for that district.
Yeah.
So
And if he'd like to come on the show and respond and give his reasons
Yeah.
for what went on, we'd love to have Kevin DeLeon here on the couch. We
Right.
have
When
no
he ran
problem whatsoever.
as
like
a
to hear his story.
when he ran for was it Senate?
Senator. Yeah.
I supported other candidates, but I mean a lot of progressives actually supported him. So I mean he says he returned the money. Jerome says that's not true. We have to get to the bottom of this. We're not saying either or is true, but what is true is that Ed Buck has been a consistent killer of
He is
black
literally
men.
like a serial killer.
And he hasn't been held accountable until like the third victim showed up, and until people Black Lives Matter went out there and Jasmine organized this
Canick.
march and this protest outside of the house where they were right outside. And it's like we said before, it's not even his actual like house. It's like one of his houses where he takes his lovers to, and he was just never held accountable. And of course the Democratic Party has a history of protecting and coddling people that are sexual predators. I mean, Eric Bauman was a prime example of it. You can look nationally at how they do this, but California, of course, is very, very, very corrupt in this way. So
Yeah, and we had a video too. Johnny was just kind of putting up the second body found in Ed Buck's home. Hold on. If you have a picture of who Ed Buck is, I don't know. He was chummy with our boy Adam Schiff for Brains right around the corner, and also the ex-chair of the party, Eric Bauman. Okay, there they are. And fam, didn't you tell me that Adam Schiff is also endorsed Jackie Lacey?
Adam Schiff has endorsed Jackie
That's
Lacey.
what I'm talking about. Birds of a feather, they flock together. The corrupt
So-
stay together, and they watch each other's back.
Yeah, so there's a lot of people that are, in general, progressive, whatever, giving Adam Schiff a lot of credit over these impeachment hearings.
Terrible.
And it's like, you guys have to seriously know who this guy is. This guy is not only a theatrical freaking actor, like putting on a show with the whole impeachment thing, but he's also corrupt as they come in California. I mean, not only does he take the money and he's establishment as it comes, but he has endorsed somebody that is at odds with the black and community in Los Angeles, and he has not commented once. And Jackie Lacey, of course, has not shown up to any of these events, and she's not going to.
Yeah, she didn't show up to last night's event either.
Exactly. There was a debate last night. They invited her, but she didn't show up.
So the main things that Jackie Lacey, is responsible for is for basically this Ed Buck case, right? Like
That's one thing.
She didn't.
She doesn't prosecute any cops.
She doesn't
too.
prosecute any
cops.
with a lot of evidence.
Yes.
Yes.
That has
Once again, last
She
night
takes some money.
and she takes the
She's
money.
supported by them.
She took the money from Ed Buck too after he's already had a death. And like we said yesterday, Rachel Rossi, one of the great moments last night, and many last night, there was a debate. It was more like a town hall. We kind of talked about that. But there was a moment where Rachel Rossi kind of pointed out the fact is like the same people who have, lunch and breakfast and dinner together, working together, then at the end of the day, if they commit a crime, they have to be prosecuted by the same person they're chummy with.
Right.
There's a big conflict of interest. She's what's the word? She's identified that and talks about that, and that's something that's big. Now, there are two people now left in this race. After that endorsement meeting, when Sabalas didn't get the endorsement, he dropped out. So there are two people one of these two people will more than likely, unless somebody else jumps in, we never know, will go against Jackie Lacey. Now, the history, and we talk about this all the time, fam. One is the ex-San Francisco DA, George Gascon, and Rachel Rossi, who is a public defender. So on paper, right off the bat, for people like me and Fee, we're going to know right away, like, okay, the DA versus the public defender. We're going to look at the public defender, and we're going to frickin' say, like, that's going to be a person that we want to push forward, because she's going to understand the whole system within, understand where to cut the red tape, and be compassionate towards the people who are suffering most under this criminal justice system. No, fam?
Yes, and the important thing to note about this race is Gascon came from San Francisco, and now we know San Francisco has been taken over by really progressive, hardcore leftist Chesa Boudin, and I knew about this a few weeks ago because what were we at a dinner? We were talking. Lauren Steiner, and I was like, "Wow, that's crazy. That is very strategic." This is precisely a reason why I don't trust Gascon because he got the endorsement, of course.
That's
of the
why we don't
LACDP.
trust him either.
Well, that too.
That alone is like, hello.
But he's not a progressive. Is he better than Jackie Lacey? Yes, but we really don't know how much. Right at this point, he could continue as it's ruling. I mean, really, at this point, in my opinion, we have actual, real hardcore people fighters, and then we have those that are still going to be doing
Yeah.
the establishment's bidding. Whether however many degrees that goes, there's still going to be establishment. I think we just need to be aware of that.
Yeah.
And I think, Rachel Rossi is more of the progressive candidate, saying things more in line with what progressives are looking at and what they want to hear.
And we're going to get more into them. We're going to be, following around. I talked about this last night. For me, fam, last night, what really bothered me is that they didn't get a chance to separate themselves enough unless you're somebody who's kind of in the bubble looking in. They were both getting applauses here and there because that's what's going to happen at a town hall. You're going to have a lot of people up there with gripes, and you're going to have these people pandering up to them like Gascon or Rossi, or they're telling the truth. Either way, they can kind of set the tone and say what they want to say. But if we have these debates and we moderated, I love this. Still one of the greatest moments is that we had all this information and we understood when we moderated the debate. We got in there. That's why we did the yes or no signs. You understood the differences between every single candidate on that stage. And that's important because I was telling Jonny the other day, JFK and Nixon got in a bus and they drove around because they thought it was important that the American people understood the differences between the two of them before they went to the voting poll. Now, despite the debate not being great, not great sound, all that stuff, the CONVO crew, we're going to eat, we're going to get our food, we're going to eat first. Well, we got out there and we got a couple questions with Gascon and a couple questions with Rossi. Who do you want to break down first? I got 3 questions and we can break them down. Gascon or Rossi, you pick.
Go, Gascon.
Gascon.
Welcome back to the Convo Couch, ladies and gentlemen. I am Craig Pasta Jardula. I forgot my own name here. I'm here with the man who just got the endorsement, the recommendation for the endorsement, George Gascon.
Got the endorsement.
Oh.
Got the recommendation Sunday. Got the endorsement last night. So I am the sole endorsee of the Los Angeles County Democratic Party. And
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You should be very proud. There's a lot of other people. So now, tonight, it was more like a town hall.
Yes.
It wasn't like a debate. We really didn't get some answers. We didn't see any stark differences between you and your opponent, your sole opponent now, Rachel Rossi, other than Jackie Lacey. What separates the two of you apart, and why should we vote for you?
Yeah. Well, first of all, let me tell you, I think the world of Rachel. We agree on policy. I respect her greatly. I think either one of us would be a better prosecutor. Having said that, what I bring to the table that is different is experience, and actually having done the work of reform for 8 years. So a lot of the things that I talked about today are not things that I wish to do or that I think I would do. It's things that I've done, right? Now, having said that, reform is a journey, it's not a destination. So I would never just simply sit here comfortably saying, well, we're just going to do what we did before.
Yeah.
No, we're going to do that, and we're going to continue in the journey because reform and community safety actually travel together. When we reduce recidivism, when we reduce community trauma, we make our community safer. By lowering incarceration, we can actually make our community safer. So I have a baseline to come from.
Yeah.
I have a work history that people can look for, but that's only the beginning of a process. We have to make sure that our solutions are also going to be appropriate for LA County and that we can continue to learn and grow.
Well, what is one of your proudest accomplishments? I heard a couple good accomplishments tonight, some great things you've done as San Francisco DA, but you personally, which one makes you the most proudest that has been accomplished by George Gascon?
Well, the most proud thing, professionally or outside profession?
Professionally and inside. Let's get a little bit of both.
Okay, professionally is the decarceration process that we started in San Francisco and the progressive prosecutors movement that I very much was part of the beginning of. Personally, I have wonderful kids that I love, and I am very proud of them. And there are 2 girls that are very smart, and I'm very proud of them.
Last question. There are some pushback for some people that say George Gascon is good, but he does take some PAC money, and they don't like PAC money whatsoever. What do you have to say to some of the PAC money, even if it's a Sean King PAC that you have taken?
Well, actually, when people say that I've taken PAC money, the only PAC money that I've taken is money with people that have contributed to progressive causes. And those are the people that have also helped pass Prop 47, Prop 36, Prop 57. So the things that I believe in, okay? I will never take corporate money. I would never take money from corporate polluters. I would never take money from people that are against criminal justice reform.
Okay. Thank you so much, George Gascon. Hopefully we'll see you soon.
So there it is. I got a little pushback at the end, try to get him with something, obviously, see where he's I like to push back against all these candidates and see where they're going there.
The thing is with him is like he's right about having more experience than Rossi. He's right about maybe they largely agree policy compared to maybe someone like Jackie Lacey, but he doesn't go, I think, far enough to actually change the system. It seems like he would at least be compromising on a lot of things, but he does seem far better. Is he Italian or is he
He's
Spanish?
Cuban.
Okay, I was like he's something. Yeah, I feel like he gave kind of the politician answer to a lot of things. Very good. Like if I heard him and I didn't know, I'd be like, okay, this guy sounds great. And then the whole Sean King PAC money thing, that was a while ago though, right? Like,
yeah,
right. There's a new PAC now, but the thing with PACs is like, this is why I don't believe in any PACs in general, because all of these things can be corrupted. You'll always find a way to corrupt them. Like if he doesn't take, I haven't looked, but if he doesn't take any actual money, like dirty money, then that's actually a positive thing.
Yeah. Well, the thing about it is that I think Gascon would be definitely an upgrade from Jackie Lacey. We've talked about that whatsoever. Yeah. Now, politically, strategically, I said this before, Rossi's got to find a way to separate himself from George Gascon.
Uh-huh.
She has to do that because, like you saw Gascon, he was talking about the props and everything he's done. Mm-hmm. He has a lot of these things he can stand behind when he addresses the crowd, when he addresses the people. But, I really like this candidate, Rachel Rossi, too, as well. I'm going to really enjoy this race. This is going to be one of the great races in the nation. It's the LADA. And just the other day when Gascon was announced in the meeting, I didn't get the video up because it was from a distance, but seeing Rossi's demeanor was very cool. The way she handles things, very, very cool. I like her whole presence, her demeanor. Let's take a look, fam, and tell me what you think about Mrs. Rachel Rossi.
I am here. Thank you for joining the Convo Couch. Craig Pasta Jardula. I am here with Rachel Rossi. How are you doing today, Rachel?
I'm feeling good.
You didn't get the endorsement last night or the recommendation. How does that make you feel?
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm brand new to this conversation. What we saw last night was the Democratic Party say, we don't support Jackie Lacey anymore. I see that as a win. I see that as a huge win for the cause, and it's a signal that LA wants to move in a different direction. It's one thing to not get an endorsement. It's another thing to have held an endorsement for years and to lose an endorsement. That was a huge signal that was sent.
So you like the direction of where we're going in that. Tonight was a little bit of a town hall. It wasn't so much a debate. Really, you guys sound a lot alike on that stage today. But what separates you from George Gascon, and why should people of LA vote for you?
I'm the first former county and federal public defender to run for prosecutor in LA County. Why is that important? If you want to transform what justice looks like, if you want a brand new vision of a prosecutor, you need someone who's seen the other side of the system. You need someone who's seen the effects of incarceration on families and communities. Prosecutors file a case, they see a charge, a conviction, a document. I'm the one that walked into lockup. I'm the one that went and saw what happened after that conviction, how a life was destroyed, how a community was destroyed. If we bring that humanity into a prosecutor's office, we completely shift the paradigm and we shift the vision of what justice can look like.
So a lot of people look at your platform and they say it's an uber progressive platform and you're speaking to one base. What do you say to the other people on the other side of the aisle, maybe the more moderate to right people who are going to be afraid to maybe elect a DA like yourself who they would consider to be too progressive and too soft on crime?
I would say look at my platform issues when it comes to victims. One of the biggest issues that I saw as a public defender working in our LA County courts was how the prosecutor's office would take a victim and prop them up as a tool to gain a conviction. The prosecutors wouldn't listen to the victims, the prosecutors wouldn't consult with the victims, and the prosecutors didn't care what victims wanted in the case. One of the things that I would do as a prosecutor is ensure that victims are notified when they want to be notified, and that we explore the expanded use of restorative justice when victims want that as an option. I think victims have been too long ignored in our communities, and that is a part of the reform conversation. It's hand in hand. It's not just progressive or not progressive or moderate. It's let's re-envision justice. Let's join together and talk about what justice can actually look like.
Rachel Rossi, I think you're an amazing candidate, and I am pulling for you. You and George, I hope you guys have a great, great primary, a great debate, and we can...
Go ahead, Fam.
I
Analyze.
mean, bottom line, I mean, she resonates so much more with our cause, the movement. It's not, and she really hit it on the head. It's not about whether you're a conservative, a moderate. It's about justice. It's about being empathetic to the other side. And she's entirely right. As a prosecutor, look at someone like Kamala Harris, who is a prosecutor. That's someone that is
Never looked
not
at the other
looking
side.
at the other side, looking at this from a very myopic lens. Whereas she was able to empathize with both the perpetrator and the victims and able to see these people as human beings, which is something largely missing in our justice system. We see people as numbers. We punish them rather than push for rehabilitation. I think she would push for more of those tactics of, hey, maybe this person had a bad situation and maybe they could be reformed and affected in a different way under different circumstances. And I think she would more likely push that. And she also said something about changing the system. And I think here's another example of like Elizabeth Warren versus Bernie Sanders. You know, Elizabeth Warren is going to maintain the system. She might make it better, a little bit better, but it's still going to be the same system. And eventually it'll still allow the injustices to happen. Whereas under Rossi, for instance, who was more of like the Bernie candidate, she's trying to change the system, have a different way of dealing with things. And I think that is so important. And we've seen that it is possible with a candidate like Chesa Boudin. Of course, San Francisco has a more progressive base of people than in LA. LA has the neoliberals have a stronghold on our party. So she's right. It is a win that they didn't endorse Jackie Lacey. I mean, that is a huge win for progress, because Jackie Lacey is just so terrible. I mean, at this point, endorsing her would be a crime. And so I agree with her that at least that is showing like how we are pushing the overtone window further
answer.
the left.
I love that answer. I really did that. The first answer was great.
Yeah.
I thought it was awesome. The second answer was awesome. The third answer, though, when I kind of put that out there, and I'm curious to you, fam, you know, there's going to be a lot of other people, like I said, who are on the other side of this issue, who are going to be voting, who are not like progressive for us. We look at criminal justice reform in a different way. We, you know, look at bail, cash bail reform, all that stuff. But I would have liked to see her, and once again, I understand, and I don't want to say the word be used a little bit more politician on it, but a little bit more like, well, you know, I am going to be tough on crime. I'm going to prosecute.
I know.
Let me finish. I know because we're one side. But if you're going to win this general election, and that's what Jackie Lacey's has already kind of just said, I'm going to go for this side right over here. I'm not even going to worry about the Democrats. She's completely ignored. She thinks she can win from getting just the people who are pro-cop and all that stuff. So I would have liked to see more of like, well, I'm gonna prosecute rape victims. I'm gonna prosecute white collar crimes. I'm gonna protect your civil liberties. Okay. So these companies who think they're gonna get away with it, no, I'm gonna go after them too. So I'll be tough on crime. I'll just be tough on the right crime. Something to that degree is what I wanted to see. What not. But once again, talking to me and talking to you is different than talking to the electorate. So.
Well, I mean, that's a good point as far as, you know, being specific about the type of crime she would go after. I mean, I think, you know, she could have said, I'm going to go after the corporations that are swindling poor people and profiting off of them. I mean, but that is, she could be more specific, but that is a given when you are somebody that is like a Chesa Boudin or a Bernie Sanders. It's not like you're going to be light on actual criminals. You're just going to divert that sort of punishment as profiting off of criminalizing poor people.
Exactly.
Because that's what Jackie Lacey has done. That's what the majority of these prosecutors who come from that background do. They're tough on crime, Puss. And the reason I said no when you said tough on crime, because to me, when you say tough on crime, that is like, you know, the crime bill. That is Joe Biden.
Yeah,
That
totally.
is that. So using tough on crime, I would never want a progressive politician to say, I'm going to be tough on crime.
Yeah.
I would want them to say, I'm going to be tough on actual criminals who are, you know, exploiting poor people and using them to, you know, to make money, to make profits. I'm going to be tough, et cetera, et cetera. More specific, I agree. But to say tough on crime is not something I would ever want to hear from a progressive politician.
I always thought it was code for when they say I'm going to be tough on crime, I'm going to be tough on black people.
That's exactly
what code
it
is for me. But
Right.
a lot of people, once again, they ran campaigns on that whole, you know, the crime bill, tough on crime. So, like I said, trying to find a way. It's just a political move. Once again, Rachel Rossi's out there. She's honest. This is going to be a great race either way. We're going to continue to follow this stuff. We're going to continue to get behind this. Like we said, even Gascon is an upgrade from Jackie Lacey. But let's just hold the horses and let's see how this thing plays out.
And again, she is a woman of color. I know the Democratic Party, of course, only loves women of color when they do their.
He's a white immigrant.
They do.
Gascon.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, he's a man. He's an older man. I mean, somebody like, if you want to go solely on identity politics, right? Which we don't. We look at the issues. But somebody like Rachel is more representative of the millennial generation. I mean, she represents more of what the diversity we want people to look like. But aside from all that, that's all superficiality. It is what she has to say that brings an actual change to the structure of the system. Whereas Gascon, of course, he's better and he has great, his policy seems decent, but is he really going to actually push that much? I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like it to me, but we will see. I like him a lot better than, most DAs that I've heard.
And right now he's got the lead. He's got the endorsement. He's got everything riding behind him. He's got the finances, the money. We talked about this, Johnny, right? Money pouring in all around the nation. It's up to Rachel Rossi and her campaign to separate themselves and show why they're better.
She has to go hardcore leftist, hardcore Chesa Boudin progressive. And that's honestly how she separates
And the way this political article kind of phrases it is that the California DA race is a major test for criminal justice reform movement, around the nation.
Oh, yeah.
And there's national money being put into Gascon.
Fiorella's ex, Larry Krasner in Philadelphia over there. That was a big one, too, as well. And that's why all eyes are on this race. Let's get on to the next topic, but really quick, I want to say thank you for the Super Chat contribution to Naz Calito. And it is always appreciated on the couch. He says, I'm the third to arrive. And the Chalk Talk Warrior said, nah, you're the fourth. So sorry, you finished fourth, but we love you anyways. Thank you for that Super Chat contribution. And do we have any other Super Chat contributions? Where is everybody? There's only 84 and 40-something. Is somebody live that we don't know about? Who are we missing over here? Who cares? Get everybody over to the CONVO Couch. Like, share, subscribe. Jackie Pagao, Steve Woolbrand, Jeffrey Hyde, Gregory Mallard, Raven Donhead. They all walked into the door on the CONVO Couch Facebook. Fam, how bad is the L.A. Democratic Party?
It's bad.
How bad?
It's pretty bad.
Why are they so bad?
Because they're full of establishment people from even from the very bottom, from the delegates to the Central Committee people, which is why it's good news that the majority of my friends are able to run for Central Committee. Like, I was going to run, but I was a Green less than a year ago.
Sorry.
So they were like, you pretty much are like a Republican. You need to wait longer.
Bye, Felicia.
Whatever. So, but I am making sure to vote for my progressive people that are running. And we were all there, of course. We spotted Melissa Michelson, we spotted Michelle, we spotted a bunch of people there. And we were all like, holy crap, like, smells of establishment in here. Everybody was like, let's get the hell out of here. Like, everybody was
get the
like,
sage out.
It was funny because we're all like, and I'm like, Melissa, God, they're so bad. She's like, that's why we're running. And it's kind of like,
well, let's show a little picture. This is Mark Gonzalez, the chair, and
God.
As a personal person, I talk to Mark. I like him as a person. I don't believe in his way. What's going on? The LA, is virtue signaling of sorts.
Pasta's a nice one.
But no, I want to. I'm saying I'm trying to build a relationship with Mark. I want the Democratic Party to improve. I want them to do better. Do I believe they will? No, but I'm staying in contact with a lot of people within this party who are establishment or whatever you call them, and trying to talk to them, trying to see if they'll change.
I mean, you talked to Atkins, so
David
I
Atkins,
gotta give
another
you
friend.
credit because I want to punch people, and you're like,
I know. Well, here's Mark Gonzalez, and once again, the way he kind of frames thing, I disagree. Let's show Mark though, so you can see himself.
So as we get our credentials report together, I just want to make sure that I reiterate in this room that we are all Democrats, right? Yes. And we all believe in the same values of the Democratic Party. Yes. And I know that there are some cases where there are not all Democrats who are alike. Yes. Yes, we know that. But at the end of the day, we are the party of civility, right? Yes. We are the party of women's rights, right? Yes. We are the party of LGBTQ rights, right? Yes. We are the party of making sure that there is a fair and transparent process but we are also very civil with each other, right? So let's make sure that when we leave here tonight, we don't forget that all of us in this room are Democrats and represent the Democratic Party. Yes. And that is what I want to stress here tonight, that there's a lot of tension leading up to tonight, and I know many of you have heard from many campaigns and throwing mud at the wall to see what sticks. But at the end of the day, we are not each other's enemies, okay? Right. The Republicans, I can gladly say, are the enemies, as we can see every single day, right? And we know that. But on March 3rd, we're going to show it to them, and in November, we're going to show it to them again, right? So tonight, we are a united Democratic Party as we go forward and making sure that we endorse Democrats and making sure we get our agenda forward for November as we win in 2020, right? So thank you all again for being here, for respecting one another.
Okay, so the whole message, fam. The enemy, you know what I'm saying? This is the part where I lose these guys. This virtue signaling, oh, we're Democrats. We're above everybody else. We're the party of all the proper ways in the world, and the Republicans are just awful, fam.
Fam, I mean, I was just rolling my eyes the whole time. I'm sorry. The insistence on civility. So they get angry when the right is like, you guys should talk, you should talk to us and try to make your point. And they're like, no, you're all Nazis. But then when it comes to people in their own party, they preach that same civility that they refuse on the right. And it's really funny because by civility, they mean shut up and go along with the status quo. That's what they mean by civility. They don't mean like, stand your ground and be civil. No, they mean like shut up and do what we say or you're going to be kicked out, because they love kicking people out. Jerome Kitchen was one example, obviously a more loud example, but they've kicked Maria Estrada out, God knows, so many times, and they've kicked numerous people out. Yeah. And they preach civility when we don't have time for civility. I'm sorry. And the civility that they praise, that they preach, we don't have time for that. I mean, people are dying. We don't have Medicare for all. You want us to have civility for that? We like, the planet is dying. There's people in tents everywhere outside, and you guys want to talk about civility. Yeah. I mean, get the hell out of here with your bullshit. Like, I'm just so sick of their like, oh, we're the party, and they start and they lead with identity politics, but look at Jackie Lacey. I mean, a prime example of why that doesn't work. We are the party of people of color. What, people of color who are corrupt? Yeah. Like, it's disgusting. Like, it's so. I was there with Tina on the left, and I was like, oh, like, I hate these people. Yeah. They're so fake. They're fake. They're not real.
I'm hoping that they can conform and change and some people. Who knows? I don't know. I mean, fam, what are we gonna do? We're
gonna burn it down.
I
have
hope for Mark Gonzalez that he'll eventually say, you know what, F these people.
The power trip is too much.
Yeah, it's just one of being a part of the party.
It's about power.
Yeah, it's the party is the party of the insiders. When he said, the thing that was most offensive to me, Mark says, we're fair and transparent. No, you're not. The fucking, he also mentioned the impeachment. Oh, the impeachment. I'm like, dude, the impeachment is going to be the knife in your friggin' side, and you're just praising it, and they're the enemy.Ose are the things I don't like. It's just stupid.
The Republicans are our enemy. No,
they're not.
No.
Yeah.
You know who's my enemy right now? The Democrats.
That are standing in the way of
establishment
progressive change.
Centrist Democrats who are doing everything they can to throw in billionaires to run for office, to throw their support behind anybody but Bernie Sanders. That's who's my biggest enemy right now. The Republicans aren't doing that. The Democrats are doing that. They're my enemy. They're the ones I have to defeat in order to go and defeat Donald Trump. Because why? We're fighting a battle on multiple fronts here. We're fighting against the establishment, infiltrators inside our own progressive movement, and also inside the Democratic Party, who call themselves progressive. That label, that name is tainted forever. Yeah. You can't even say progressive without specifying what you mean by progressive, because what it means to me is not what it means by Mark Gonzalez, who probably considers himself a progressive, or what it means to Nancy Pelosi, who's called herself a progressive. So no,
I'm hoping that they can change. There's still opportunity. Mark, give me a call, boo. We'll work this out. I'll throw a life raft after. You can still come to our side and get away from those people. Let's talk about their next candidate we saw is David Ryu. Now, David Ryu has been surrounded by controversy as of late. There was a rape case against Mr. David Ryu years ago. It was dropped. But as he was getting the endorsement and we're going to play the video, whatnot, he also makes a statement because there was a lot of protesters that showed up. It was a very strange case. It was dropped. I got some information. I haven't been able to confirm it yet. So supposedly the victim was deported. I don't know if that is true. That is what people were saying inside that room. And you can see it, the shame on Rue, stop the rape culture. And his opponent, she showed up. Her name is Sarah Kate Levy. And she's going to be running against David Rue. The 11 News was there to capture her and talk to her. She seemed like a great candidate. She wants to come on the show. We're going to invite David Rue on here if he wants to tell his story. But David Rue made a little statement channeling your favorite, the old Michelle Obama. Let's take a look at David Rue when he got announced, and then the controversy that followed after when you'll see the Sergeant at Arms.
And he's speaking because he got endorsed, correct?
He got endorsed. He got the endorsement.
And that's why people were pissed.
Yeah.
In the City Council, District 4, Councilmember David Rue.
Thank you so very much for your faith in me and for supporting me. The first time I ran 4 years ago when I was the underdog candidate, when no one said that I could win, there were 14 candidates, you supported me. And you're supporting me again. And I thank you so much for all the progressive issues that we fought for, but there's so much more that needs to be done by housing our homeless neighbors. Implementing the Planned paid parental leave policy, the Green New Deal, and so much more. And I just want to end by quoting Michelle Obama, who said, "When they go low, we go high." Let's unite and take Trump out. Thank you.
That's the pacifist. Well, get the Sergeant at Arms, though. Watch now. There's controversy in the back, so here goes the Sergeant at Arms.
Los Angeles City Council District 8, Marquise Harris Dawson. He's in the back, but he's good. Los Angeles City Council District 10, Supervisor Mark Ridley Thomas.
Order! Or you will be removed. We are going to have a civilized meeting where everybody has the opportunity. If you can't respect that, then go outside the doors.
Thank you.
Pause real quick. So you can see there was controversy in the back. That was all those people with the signs.
They were
went
chanting,
outside,
"Believe
women, what's going on?" And like I said, it's a very interesting case. I try to do some studying on it. I've reached out to a couple people. I want to get some more information on it. I'd like to talk about Sarah Kate Levy. She's also running a very progressive campaign. I don't want to take away the fact that she's just running opposite of Rue. The woman's a very smart woman. She's got some great ideas. Yes, she addressed what was going on with this whole situation when it came to Mr. Rue, but she does have some great progressive ideas. We had her page up, and I'm looking forward to see how this plays out as well, because that comment, "when they go low, we go high," was about David Rue maintaining his innocence and saying that this was just a smear campaign and there's so many ins and outs. He was never prosecuted. The case was dropped. But once again, we heard a lot of rumblings. Fam, what are your thoughts about this situation?
Well, I mean, I think you can't say for sure. I mean, unless you have the evidence, I mean, we were told that the woman, the accuser, was deported, so they never were able to prosecute the case. So that is an element of question. I have more of a problem with his speech there, because he's talking about Thumma, and that is my problem with what's happening right now, is that they've taken our movement and they've used it, they put it on neoliberals and centrists, and now all these people are calling themselves progressives, and I can smell you from a mile away and see if you're a progressive or not.
Yeah.
So that doesn't faze me, but unfortunately the majority of people aren't as astute when it comes to politics, because they don't follow it obsessively like we do for a living.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people do get duped like that, and that is how movements die. Movements are co-opted. So for me, that's what really irritates me. Like, oh yeah, and I have to say all the talking points. Oh, okay, make sure to praise the Obamas. Make sure to say something about Trump. That's how we win. That's how we win. Exactly. That's what I mean.
That's
like this is their
bugged
checklist.
him, yeah.
I know you're not a progressive if you're so focused on propping up the Obamas and talking about how Trump is bad. We know Trump is bad. You're not really doing anything else for us, though. So.
Yeah. Well, the last race we're going to talk about today is kind of interesting, because once again, like, we're trying to throw some debates. We've talked about this before. We're putting these things together. We're going to see how they are. But one of the races that really have interested us was District 10. Now, at the meeting, a man by the name of Mark Ridley Thomas, I finally got to meet him. He showed up. He got the endorsement or the recommendation for the endorsement, whatever they call this at this point. It's the endorsement.